broadcast. You're a part of the resistance.
Cover your eyes, everybody. Star Wars Episode 9 photos are starting to leak out everywhere, but thankfully you're safe here because this is an audio podcast, folks. Welcome back to the Resistance broadcast. I'm John Hoey. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope your Monday is going well, and we're here to make it more fun for you. And we have a fantastic show, a lot of Star Wars news to get into, including one of our reports that we wrote up for you over at Star Wars News Net about Chewbacca. But before we get into everything, including 2 polls results that we have for you, back out of the Bacta tank that he recorded in last week, it is the Chipotle King himself. James Bainey, what's going on, man?
You know, I do like more things than Chipotle, and some of those things are Michael Bay movies. Oh, yeah. I know our site owner is going to get a big kick out of this, but I tried to get listeners here. I tried to get John to watch this movie called Pain and Gain. It's one of the better Michael Bay films. I don't love them all, but I thought this one was really good. It's got Mark Wahlberg, Anthony Mackie, and The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson in it, playing some
I like The Rock.
Bodybuilders who get caught up in a murder scene. I don't know. They're scheming and doing some bad stuff. I gotta be honest with you. It's a pretty decent film, and John says, I'm not going to watch it. I try to recommend a movie to him. He says he's not going to watch it. He won't even rent it. He'll wait for it to show up in front of him on TV.
Well, let's put it this way. Let's say you have his best movie, The Rock, and that's a 100. And then you have one of his worst movies, like Pearl Harbor, and we'll say that's like a 0. Mm-hmm. Where does Pain and Gain fall in between there?
Well, there's a lot of movies of his that I haven't seen, so I don't want to completely throw him under the bus here, but I'll tell you, it's above The Rock.
Above The Rock? That's impossible.
The Rock is ruined by Nicolas Cage, in my opinion. I think the movie's okay, the story's all right, it's fine, but if they would have just put somebody better than Nicolas Cage, who is just like almost like a pet peeve of mine, I just think he's awful. I just really do think he's awful.
Well, last week, we posted we put the call out there for Resistance transmissions that we're going to we're going to post the results of those on Thursday about what actor you want to see in Star Wars. I guess safe to say you don't want to see Nicolas Cage in a Star Wars movie.
Oh my God, could you imagine? It would be so rough.
It'd be weird stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. Hey, nice. Less Daisy Ridley, more Nicolas Cage. That's what I'm saying. Cage.
Okay, maybe we'll bring Nick Cage as a part of this podcast because we do need another person because Lacey is not here. Sorry, guys. I hope that doesn't make you tune out. But Lacey is busy this week, so she will not be with us today. But it's okay. We're still going to bash one of her favorite pizzas right now because we're going to get into these poll results. And the first poll was, okay, Star Wars is awesome, but so is pizza. Where do you stand on Hawaiian pizza? And 48% of you said it's good. And the winning vote, 52% of you said it's gross. And you, 52%, are absolutely correct. And James and Lacey and the 48% of you who said it's good are wrong. James, what do you think?
I don't have a whole lot of stock in this, honestly. Like I do think it's good, and I do order it pretty regularly. Mm-hmm. It is something that I like, but I've always thought that the whole Hawaiian pizza thing was weird. Like I don't understand why it's so divisive between people. Like I'm
divisive?
sure.
Is it divisive or divisive?
People say, I think it's both, but it bothers me when people say divisive. Honestly,
oh, I say divisive.
Yeah. But anyway,
so
that's
we're divisive over how to say that word.
52% of people say divisive. Now, I always found it weird that people like chose that. It's kind of like the Nickelback of pizza or something, like where for some reason like a lot of people really like it, but then the people who don't like it feel it's like it's a mission, like they have to destroy what people like they have to make sure to know that that's the worst possible pizza ever, and you should die because you like it. Okay. All right. What's the next poll we did? We did another.
Well, I had a text coming in from Lacey. Let's see. Oh, she said, I have a question. And I see ... She's typing something.
She's typing. Is it?
There it is. How dare you?
Yes. Yes.
So
That's.
there
I could have
is.
predicted that. Yes.
52% of you, how dare you say that it is gross. But anyway, we do have another poll, James. This one's more Star Wars related. Will the planet Batuu, the Disney Parks Galaxy's Edge planet, be featured in Star Wars Episode 9? And we have the same exact percentages.
Weird.
Just flip-flopped here. We have 48% of you said yes, and the winning vote was 52% of you said no. So, James, slightly more than half of the listeners think no Batuu in Episode 9. Where were you on this one?
Just like how you described the first poll, 48% of people are wrong. That's I saw the answer to this or the final results, and I thought 48% people think that Batuu is going to show up in this movie. Like, I don't know. I say less than 5% chance. Like, there's almost no way that this is going to, and the biggest reason for me, I mean, besides the fact that like we hardly see them like really pull from other canon to put it in the movie in the first place, but a lot of people's arguments would be like, yeah, but there's a lot of money invested and all this other thing. That's my biggest thing. I think people go into this movie and they would not see that as like oh, cool. It's like an Easter egg. Like this actually, we're going to get to visit that park. Like, I think people would, if it was a planet that they went to, I think they would just look at it like an ad.
All right. Well, James, how about this? Well, think about this. What planet did they feature in Star Tours on the outside of the ride?
On the outside of the ride, but the ad at? Or are you just saying
Endor?
I guess Endor does have an ad at. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's not Hoth. Yeah, but you're right. Endor does have an ad at.
And that was the final of that trilogy. So what if they repeated history and they're like, we're gonna put.
But there's a huge difference.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah. That's the opposite. It's like reverse in that case.
We have a best comment that's better than what you and I just said, probably. And it was by Trooper 85751 at ST85751. And he said, will we see Batuu? Maybe. They mention it in the book. Maybe it will end there with a promise of more stories to come that you can be a part of. So.
Yeah.
People like that comment, so there you go. Maybe.
Can we talk about the real poll, though?
What was the real poll? The pizza?
No, the real poll was once and for all, let's decide, retweet for Vader, like for Kylo Ren.
Oh, yeah, explain this to people out there, because this was interesting how it wound up.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I know that the poll feature really exists. I did this in kind of hopes that I'd get a lot of exposure. It was a total vanity thing, and I understand this is clearly not the most scientific method to figuring it out once and for all.
Right.
But I thought it could be a lot of fun, and see how many people could actually kind of be exposed to this picture or whatever. And I thought this thing was going to wrap up somewhere around like 800 retweets. Which at the time Vader was losing by like maybe 200 or so, to
he was getting
like 1,000 likes and like 800 retweets, and it was pretty consistent like that. That Kylo was always like 100 or 200 ahead of him. Then somewhere around like 1,400, I think like the wider audience like picked up and was like, no, Vader. And then they overtook him And as of this recording, it's at 2,891, so nearly 2,900 retweets to Kylo Ren's 2,000 likes. So almost 2/3. Or well, wait, how do you do that? Almost
60%.
1/3, 30% more.
Right, but it was like
Yeah.
3 to 2, so it's almost like 60%.
Math is
But
hard.
anyway, yeah. Yeah,
But it was really
it's-
cool, and I was happy to see that actually reached a lot of people and got some exposure, and it was fun to watch it for sure. And as the
And
comments rolled
you
in
only
and
lost
stuff.
like 200 followers in the process.
Yeah,
so
no,
there you
I
go.
gained followers, which was pretty cool too. Which is that just means that more people might be exposed to the Resistance broadcast, and that is a thumbs up for me.
That is cool. Yes. So good job, James. But James, we also have other stuff to get into. The Resistance report is sizzling this week, so let's fire it up, man. What's going on this week in the news?
It's the Resistance.
All right, so the first story is kind of spoilery. Now, we understand that term could mean different things to different people. This is kind of pictures of the cast in maybe some locations, so if you're kind of worried about that, you might want to skip ahead.
So let's cue the Death Star siren right here.
And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see exactly where we'll move on to the next story. So it makes it a little bit easier for the podcast listeners. If you didn't know we do it on YouTube, every story is categorized. So there's that. All right, but let's get into this. So The Sun is a UK publication. I believe they're actually started as a magazine, but they have a lot of like internet stuff on their website. And they
Is it
took
the Twin Sun, James?
It's
Or
not
is
the
it just
Twin Sun. That is different. That is a Star Wars only publication that does not exist. But we did have some photos come from this company, and it is of Finn and Poe and Chewie, and they are on a hill, like the side of a hill. So, and they have some horses, but the horses are covered with some things, and there's some markers on their faces. So we clearly see that could potentially be an alien of some sort, a different type of species. Probably not,
Banthas, yeah.
or not fathiers, maybe, but maybe, who knows? Which would be kind of neat to bring that back in. But I think we also saw a lot of extras in this scene as well. I think we got some really cool looks at like the clothes, which was one of the tip-off points that the J.J. Abrams photo that he took on the first day of shooting. We speculated that blurry person might be Rey. I think that's what most people were leaning for. And our own Lacey Gillerin, we kind of got to roll our eyes on this, but she was dead set that was Poe. And now that we're looking at these photos, she's right. Like, you can tell.
Yeah.
John, what did you
Lacey
think?
nailed it.
Yeah, what did you think of these set leak photos? It's kind of a taboo thing. Should we be talking about, leaked information that Lucasfilm doesn't want us really looking at? But we got to talk about what's out there, right?
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's really tricky because... And first of all, I'm annoyed that Lacey was right and I was wrong. I think you were leaning Rey as well, right?
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, we were wrong. She was right. Fine. But moving
Nobody
on from
said
that,
Indiana Jones, but he kind of looks like Indiana Jones too.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting to me because they were leaked. So once they are, you kind of have to do something about it in terms of Star Wars Newsnet. So we wanted to put them out there, and we didn't put them out to the public, so you had to go into the article to see it. I don't believe in just throwing them out there because there's a lot of people who don't want to see them, and sometimes I don't want to see them, right? So, but once I did look at these, because I started seeing them, and it was one of those things where like you're looking through your fingers, and you might as well just take your hand away because you see everything. Sure. So I see you have Poe with his like you're saying, like almost like a. He looks like a Brendan Fraser from The Mummy. Like it's just like it's very like King Kong, like 1930s type of look. And then you have Finn here with a very Han Solo looking type of outfit with the blue pants, an almost vest-looking type of thing up top
Yeah,
there.
it's kind of. They both kind of look very Safari Explorer.
Yes,
you know?
and they both have the straps and their man purse.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I wanted to point out, everyone made a big deal when they saw John Boyega training with like cornrows in his hair, and they're like, "Oh, that's Finn's new haircut." But then Sleemo, I don't know if you know Sleemo, a popular Twitter account, and she posts a lot of stuff that she just digs up everywhere. She noticed him preparing for episode 9, putting on a wig over that actually looks more like Finn, and that's what he looks like here. So Finn's looking very Finn normally here. And then
He's like, gotta grow my hair out. You'll see why. And then we don't see why.
Yeah, and then we don't see why. And then obviously you see Jonas here. He's filming some shots, standing around as Chewie, chilling out under an umbrella. And like you said, the extras. So it just, what's funny is it looks like, and I know the magic of Star Wars will help this, but it looks like their bus broke down and they're just on the side of the road waiting to get picked up by their Ubers. I don't know. I honestly focused on the main characters here. I went right to them, and again, it's weird not seeing Rey here. So you got to think that maybe she's already on her Luke Skywalker journey where she's going to confront Kylo, type of thing that I've been speculating about, but. It's interesting.
That's where we differ, because like I didn't go there at all. I looked a little bit at Finn and Poe. Obviously, Chewie's in the scene too, but my thing was like purpose, place. What are they doing? Where could this be? They're trying to meet up with Chewie. They're trying to look for people. They're on this planet. They seem to be alone. Are they on like a Finn and Rose kind of adventure? Running through these hills and stuff. I don't know. That's where my mind went, is purpose and place.
Yeah, I mean, they're interesting just because I was shocked to see them pop up today. But they obviously don't tell us too much, and for all we know, everything there could be filled in with effects and obviously, like you're saying, those horses look like they're marked so that they could be banthas, they could be fathiers, they could be a new type of thing that people are riding around on. So there's a lot to be done here via ILM that's going to make this look more than people just standing around because their bus broke down.
Yep, 100%. All right, well let's move into the next story, and this one's an interesting, because this one is basically kind of your story. It's Star Wars Newsnet exclusive here.
Yep.
So we got some more filming for Jonas Suotamo as Chewbacca. As previously reported, he was going to be at the Rose City Comic-Con, and it came up that he had to cancel. And as it turns out, the reason he had to cancel was because of rewrites in the script, and he had to go back and reshoot some stuff, so he wasn't able to make his appearance. But then, you hear that story and you start thinking, wait a minute, hold on, rewrites and reshoots, and it gets kind of tricky here. And but that's the source, that's what we're hearing. So explain this a little bit further, John. What's going on with Jonas here?
Yeah, so what we've heard, and we double backed to check to make sure what was told was correct, and the main chunk of this here is the fact that in June, he was booked for this Comic-Con, right? And then we look at this timeline that I have here, and on June 28th, you have Billy D. Williams canceled commitments to the same events, same time frames, same everything. We gather there, that part's speculation on my part, that's when Billy D. Williams officially signed on for Episode 9. People were wondering why that cast announcement didn't happen yet. I think they were trying to finalize that deal to bring him on before they announced the cast. So then filming begins a month later, August 1st. A week after filming begins, Jonas Suotamo cancels his appearance at Rose City Comic-Con. So again, this is a week after filming started. So obviously he had no clue that he was going to be filming for this movie when filming started, that he'd be filming in September, and he was booked for all 3 dates for this event.
Which to specify, that was September 7th, 8th, and 9th. Right. That he had something booked September 7th, 8th, and 9th. He was going to be good. He was going to be able to show up. Then somewhere around August 8th, he says, not able to do it anymore. They changed some stuff, some rewrites. I got more to do, and there we go.
So we heard from the source that the reason for his cancellation is due to rewrites and him having to film additional scenes as Chewbacca. He has to go back to England in September when originally he was not supposed to at all. So then we go from there and look at Billy D. Williams' situation, and everything lines up with him having to cancel multiple events in around the same weeks that Jonas canceled his events in September, which has me thinking the reason for the rewrites is we're going to see more Lando scenes here being filmed in September, and Chewbacca's going to be right in the thick of those things. So I'm speculating that we're going to be getting scenes between both of them. How much? I'm not quite sure, but it was enough for both of them to pull out and for them to pull Jonas out of his commitment, even after filming on this movie started, to have him go back to film some more scenes as Chewbacca.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny too, because like I remember when the second Independence Day movie was in production, and they were waiting on Will Smith. Can we get Will Smith? Is it possible? We don't know. The script is done. In fact, there's 2 scripts done. They had one complete script that involved Will Smith's character returning, and they had another one as if he never showed up. And those kind of details are crazy when you think, well, that's like a difference between it's a whole different movie you wrote, And at the end of the day, they were just waiting to get the confirmation that character was coming back. And so as soon as they got the confirmation that they were going to get Billy D. Williams, it looks like JJ started thinking, well, dang, if we got Billy, hold on, let me go back. Let me take another look at the script. Let me pen some things around. Can we get Jonas? What's he doing? Oh, he's making an appearance at a convention. Let's get him out here. Big deal kind of thing. Like, I'm sorry for the people who were excited to see him. That's always a great get. But at the same time, like, he has a chance to show up with Lando, and that's a once in a lifetime thing. This is episode 9 we're talking about, so let's do it. Anything else about this report that,
Yeah, so it's funny. A lot of people didn't latch onto that part, which I thought was the most interesting, because you're talking about rewrites to the final script in the Skywalker saga that is likely, in my speculation, that other people have believed to be sound speculation, that you're getting Lando Calrissian and Chewie back together. And the fact that he had to change his schedule after filming started really shows that was something that kind of sprung up in late in the game here. But another thing that people harped on to was that, we also heard this and we had to report it. Doesn't mean we're 100% believing this, but the source does tell us that Jonas filmed some stuff for episode 9 at the tail end of the production for Solo. And a lot of people screamed and hollered about that and said that's crazy. And, some of the report from what we heard said he filmed a lot of stuff. But, I don't find it that crazy, being that JJ was likely brought in August. Solo filming went through till the end of October, so it's possible they did some action shots, maybe even second unit type stuff, or, he's in the cockpit here, we're standing outside the ship here, we can get this, get that, help me out. We've seen it done in Star Wars before. Lucas did it by filming stuff for episode 3 during episode 2. We've seen Marvel do it with the Avengers. Stan Lee's cameos were done years ago. It happens across related productions. So to me, it's not that crazy for him to have filmed stuff. I don't necessarily think he filmed a lot of stuff either, but that's what we heard, so we reported it.
Yeah, and I think that's really the end of that conversation is, we just... we understand that can be the weird red flag, the weird situation in the story.
Yeah,
everything starts to make sense, and then you hear one aspect of this, and you're like, wait a minute, hold on. He was filming during Solo? You mean Ron Howard was filming stuff for him, or what was going on? None of that makes sense. I dismiss this story, and that's the only thing that kind of stuck out to me too. But at the same time, like, we have seen people do this, and like I've talked about. I just got done talking about Resurgence. Like, you try to tell somebody, yeah, they had 2 scripts for this movie, just depending on one small little aspect. And it's like, that's almost an unbelievable story, but it's the truth, So I don't know. It does seem kind of weird, but at the same time, when somebody comes up and he says, hey, we have this, and all that stuff lines up. And then also there's this one thing that's kind of weird. Let's just take him for his word, That we think that's what the story is, and that's what we're being told, so we're going to report that.
Yeah, and again, the most interesting part of this story to me really is the fact that you got late in the game rewrites going on here, to the fact that this guy was booked solid for a 3-day convention where he didn't think he was going back to the States, West Coast, no interest in filming whatsoever, not on the schedule, and all of a sudden, a week after production starts, he goes, I got to pull out of this thing because of additional filming. That part is confirmed. I know that for a fact, and so we're getting some added stuff happening here late in the game, and like I said, I really do think it is Lando and Chewie, and I couldn't be happier about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got another really cool thing that happened this week, and that was a new Star Wars trailer. Boom.
Yes.
Wait, not a movie, but a TV show.
Okay.
We're all waiting for that episode 9 trailer, but we did get the Star Wars Resistance trailer.
Yeah.
And this came kind of unexpectedly. I don't think we all were talking about it. Everybody kind of wanted to know, hey, we're getting closer to the date. When's this thing going to come out? We're all kind of like, I don't know, it almost kind of felt like Solo trailers, We're like, whoa, what's going on with this show?
Some people were like, is this going to get canceled? Is this show happening?
Yeah. But no, we got this trailer, and I don't know, but it's funny. I watched it probably 3 times, and then I went to lunch with a friend, and we were kind of talking about it, and he said, yeah, I think this line and this line, and I was like, you know what, man? I didn't pick up on any dialogue. I was 100% focused on the animation and the way that it looked, and the stuff in the background, or like who's in the scenes. Like, I don't know that guy. Who could this person be? I saw a character that kind of looked like someone from Rebels. I saw another character, well, I guess that looked like someone from Rebels, but regardless, I was more interested in that. And then I went back and I thought about it. I was like, yeah, man, I think the only thing I picked up on was like one line of Poe being like, I've got a mission for you or something.
Yeah.
But I went back and I rewatched it and stuff. And I don't know, let me hand this off to you before I go into it. But like, what did you think? How do you feel about the animation? That seems to be like the number one thing that people are kind of iffy on.
Yeah, I think the thing that stood out to me, if I can break it down to bare bones, is smooth and bright. That's what I really gathered from it. And I don't know if that's just because of the water background and because of the light colors, but it seemed fun to me. It seemed light. It didn't seem like it's going to be some kind of deep, dark lore type of situation. Credit to you. I know you had thought that for a long time. I mean, that could change. Like, Rebel started off very light and kiddie too.
Yeah.
But the one thing in terms of, like, you're saying dialogue that stood out to you, the only thing that really stood out to me was when that guy who I guess he looks like he's in charge of the pilots, the rookie pilots, says, you're with me, but when it comes to you doing this spy stuff, I don't want to know about it.
I don't want to know anything about it. Very Lucius Fox of him.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, is Poe like grabbing this kid and saying, like, I need you to do the spy mission for me? You can have fun training as a pilot and stuff, but I really need you to go do this. I'm not sure, but it looks like that's where that kid's going to become different from the rest, where he's going to get pulled out of Flight Academy and have to start doing a little James Bondy type of stuff. Yeah.
Really quick, just for anybody that doesn't know who Lucius Fox is, that's Morgan Freeman's character in The Dark Knight.
Yeah. Yep.
Or I guess he was in all 3 of them, but I think of him in Dark Knight, where he's, saying, I don't want to have anything to do with this. But
I like to call it the bat.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess the thing is, to me, I think that number one, I think that the show does look kiddie, right? Looks like it's made for children, as it should, as it is. Yeah, and as I said at the beginning, I think that's kind of going to be a show that's aimed towards the kids, and it's going to be a little bit more like, day to day, episode to episode is just about getting the mission done, and that's really it. And I do think, now seeing the trailer, that I think there is potential for this to kind of like, we'll begin to kind of learn the characters a little bit more, and we'll be able to kind of have some connection with them as the story goes along. So, and I do think that the potential of this first season alone is just the First Order is not a threat right now. They're just checking it out. So that it opens the door. There's not a whole lot of crazy things that's going to happen in that first season. But by the end of the first season, maybe they've discovered that the First Order are bad news, and they need to in season 2 and 3 and 4, or whatever they want to do with it. That's when they could really start to open up. I understand if it goes that far. I get it.
It's set 6 months before The Force Awakens. That's not a lot of time.
Yeah, it just depends on how close the story wants to be. Like sometimes, like seasons 1 and 2 of Rebels are like pretty much back to back, but then like season 3 like jumps, you know. So,
but if you want a character growth, and you know, it's not going to be. Okay, this is 4 seasons and it takes place over 3 weeks, and this kid's going to kind of become a pilot.
I disagree, man, because you can have a movie where a person starts the movie and doesn't fully get life, and then in like, I understand it's like not necessarily a 2-hour time span, but in the course of like a day or an adventure that they go on, they grow up and understand bigger things about the world. But
movies get the Rocky montage.
Yeah,
and that's where you play,
but it still takes place over the course of a
around.
short amount of time, and this surely will take place over longer than some movies. Most movies, I would say, most movies usually don't take place over the course of like 6 months.
And if you guys don't know what a Rocky montage is, basically every Rocky movie has this thing where Rocky's training and they play music for 3 or 4 minutes and they show him like working out, and then you get the idea that he's been doing this for a long period of time. So it's a good way to time jump, and a lot of movies and shows do this type of thing.
I'm glad you backtracked, because I know that a lot of people don't know a lot of the like movie lingo.
I don't know if people know Rocky montages or not. People be like, Rocky who?
Rocky who? Yeah. I don't remember a Rocky.
Is he the guy from that Creed movie?
Yeah. But no, up front, I'm not a huge fan of the animation. I was hoping it would look a little bit different. It kind of reminds me of some shows that I've thought looked like they were kind of cheaply made. I was hoping that it would be a little bit more towards that anime style. It just looks a little too 3D for me, but I think that has to do with like budget and how they were wanting to like.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
I said I liked how it looked, and then some guy tweeted at me or something, and he was like, "Yeah, it's real easy to make a background when it's blue ocean. It's just lazy animation." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna take my ball and go home now." I tried to have fun and be positive about this show, and this guy's just like, "That's lazy animation." Blah blah. I'm like, "All right, I'm out."
Yeah. Well, if the show was based on Tatooine, it would be lazy animation to do an easy like sky and endless sand. Yeah. So, but like, I think a show on Tatooine could be really cool, especially because people want a whole movie about it. You know, Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine.
That's true.
All right, so 6 months before The Force Awakens, this kind of also means a little bit that it's in the same-ish, if I'm not mistaken, time frame as the Poe Dameron comic, which is also kind of cool. Maybe all of this stuff leads up to the Poe Dameron comic, and maybe it doesn't end so well for the characters in this kids show. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but we don't see him in the Poe comic, and I don't know. So it kind of, that reinforces for me that Poe isn't going to have a big role in this show, that he's
also
going to show up, give a
these
mission, tell him to go do it, and he's the face of the resistance, but it's really about these kids just doing good stuff.
Or these kids just go off to run a lemonade stand somewhere.
Oh, shut up. Quit with the lemonade stand. The deli. Get out of here.
Delis for grown-ups and lemonade stands for kids.
They're going to go hang out with General Holdo. All right. All right, man. I think that's it. There's no more news this week. We don't need to do any rundowns or anything like that. Oh, what?
What?
Hey, man, you're going to insult the canon. All right, fine. I'll let you do a rundown, John. What else do we got going on this week that was important, but maybe not something that we need to talk about?
Oh, definitely some important stuff, but stuff that we don't need to give our takes on for sure. So I did some rewrites, though, so that Chewie would have to come with me on this rundown. So punch it, Chewie! Okay, so like I said, important stuff that we don't need to do takes on. This one's number one on the list. Kelly Marie Tran speaks out for the first time since deleting Instagram posts after targeted sexist and racial harassment towards her flooded her account since becoming a popular public figure after her role in Star Wars The Last Jedi. Her entire statement is from the New York Times, so you can find it over there, but in it she wrote, "I want to live in a world where children of color don't spend their entire adolescence wishing to be white. I want to live in a world where women are not subjected to scrutiny for their appearance or their actions or their general existence. I want to live in a world where people of all races, religions, socioeconomic classes, sexual orientations, gender identities, and abilities are seen as what they have always been, human beings." It is good to see Kelly Marie Tran standing up for herself after clearly taking however much time she wanted to wait to respond to all this. So cheers to you, Kelly. And she said her real birth name is Loan. I actually grew up with a Vietnamese girl named Loan on Long Island, so I thought that was cool. And Kelly, we know you are already making a difference for the better, so right on, and we look forward to seeing you in 9. The next story, Star Wars, speaking of 9, Star Wars Episode 9 will stop filming at some point, James. It is true. Movies do stop filming. And according to Omega Underground via Geeks Worldwide, filming for Episode 9 will end in February 2019. Now, this is a rumor, but that's what they're saying. And that's 2 months before Celebration, when we all expect to see a trailer for the final chapter in the Skywalker saga, where Lacey will have a front row seat for that. And if you and I are lucky, we'll be up in the nosebleed somewhere watching that happen. Now, the last story, Star Wars production designer Neil Lamont says a spin-off involving Tatooine was put on hold, telling Cinema Blend, quote, "We were just starting our work on another Star Wars spin-off, and yeah, we were actually just making our mark on Tatooine, which would have been interesting, and some other new galaxies. So hopefully if that comes back, we'll get the chance to be able to do that further," end quote. Now, this will definitely keep the fire going for those fans who want a Kenobi or Fett film, and I truly can't wait to... I honestly can't wait to hear an official Kenobi announcement, which I'm guessing will be at Celebration, mainly just so we can stop hearing the rumors about it, and obviously so McGregor stops getting asked about it. But James, that's it, my man. What?
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't want to be wrong, but I'm with you, man. I want them to come out and say we're doing the Kenobi movie so that I can go, all right, I was wrong. That was it. We're done. Yeah. It's obviously happening.
So they're doing it. Yeah.
They're doing it. Yeah.
But that is the end of the rundown. For all of your articles on all of our news in our Resistance Report and the rundown today, head to StarWarsNewsNet.com. It is time for Ask the Resistance. Lacey is not here, so James is going to take it and run with it. So Chewie, get us out of here.
All right, guys, we're going to do Ask the Resistance again this week. And we had some good questions last week. We got some good questions this week. I'm excited to get into it. Now, you guys know how to do Ask the Resistance, right? If you guys have a question or topic that you want to have us talk about on the show, you think it'd be something that you would like to hear us discuss or get into a little bit, maybe something we haven't thought of, maybe something, that you've just been wondering for a while, maybe we can answer it for you. Just tweet anything. You could just tweet to the world. Doesn't really have to come to us. All you got to do is put in hashtag ASKTHE resistance. That was weird. I spelled half of it. I got too far into it and realized I didn't want to have to spell out that word. But hashtag Ask the Resistance. Send us your questions and we'll get into it. So,
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
The first one that we're doing this week came from Tired Space Wizard at A Gray Jedi, which... Gray, Jedi, Tired Space Wizard, Obi-Wan, Gray. He was kind of gray. I don't know. I don't mind the handle. He says, hey, at Resistance Broadcast at Star Wars Newsnet, RBATSWNN, as R2-D2 did not get his memory wiped, do you think that R2 knows that Vader was Anakin? It would have to be, I can't read this. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if they would run into each other on the Tantive 4. John, what do you think about that?
Yeah, you know how I think about that. I'm gonna say he did not know that Vader was Anakin. But it's hard to say because R2 didn't have his memory wiped, so he remembers Anakin probably. But was he there? Did he go with Anakin to Mustafar? It's fuzzy to me. Did he go with him?
I don't believe so. Where was the last time we saw R2-D2? Was with Padme, possibly. I don't think he was on the ship that went to Mustafar with Obi-Wan and Padme.
I feel like, and I hate that I can't look it up right now because we're just in the middle of recording, but I could have sworn I remembered Anakin arriving there and saying R2 stay with the ship, but that could be wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
But even so,
But then how did R2 get off of Mustafar in that case then?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my quick answer here is that I don't think he does know, because if he does, it just makes it really stupid. Because then, they had a brief encounter where they crossed paths in Empire, and then it's just like, oh, he knew he was him. He would have said something to Luke. Like it becomes way too dumb. And you guys know how I feel. Like I don't hate the prequels by any means. I do enjoy them. But the fact that they made all these characters know each other too much just for the sake of fan service really kind of bothered me. You all know that. So my answer, just for the sake of my sanity, is that he doesn't know that Anakin became Vader.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. The only thing that I would say that even if he did know, I kind of feel like R2 has always been what's the mission at hand? And I'm not painting him in a very good light here, but it's always kind of been like I don't really care. I just am here to do what I do.
He's a mind your own business droid.
I think he's just I guess like he just minds his own business. He's not a
gossip.
I would guess so. I guess he has like a bad mouth, a foul mouth.
He has a foul mouth, but he's not a gossip.
Yeah, I don't think have we ever really heard information from R2? I mean, someone's going to say, yeah, clearly, like this one scene, and I'm just blanking on it. But has R2 ever come in like Lassie and he's like, beep, 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 beep. What, R2? Oh, they're in the place and blah, 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 and we need to figure this out. I think he's just always kind of been there, and if you tell him to do something, he's like, okay, and he just kind of does it. I don't think he ever brings up the past or mentions that he used to do this or something like that.
R2 is like your good old school neighborhood mechanic, and you would go to him, and he would fix everything that you need fixed, and he would always be there and reliable for you, and then he just mind his own business and do his thing.
Yeah, he's like, I don't judge.
Yeah, and then C-3PO's C-3PO's like a hairdresser. He's like the other way around. He's just gossiping constantly.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If Anakin would have ever told R2 or commanded R2 to do something bad, do you think R2 would have not done it? Like because the moral objective of like, no, I know that if I do that, it's going to kill someone, and I'm a good robot. Like, I don't really know.
Yeah, I think he's a good guy. He's definitely a good guy.
I think he's a good guy, but he's never been put in a situation where he was asked to do something morally unjust. You know what I'm saying? They've never really written R2 to be like a character who would do the right thing. I don't think.
He's kind of rebellious, though. Like, in Jabba's sail barge, he was, like, snapping back at that guy, and he's like, you're a feisty little one, but you'll learn respect. Like, no one pushes R2 around.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to
he'll do things for you if he likes you, kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next question.
Wait, did you answer his question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so I said first and foremost, I said, I think I agree with you, but
oh, okay, yeah.
I always kind of took R2 as this person who, even if he did know, he probably wouldn't really care.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to the next question, we got Atacan. Would you say that? Atacan1138 at
yes. Nice George Lucas reference.
ATCNAYDN at Canadian at Canadian maybe. I don't know. But let's get to their question.
That's a nice Lucas reference there, though. The 1138.
The 1138. Gotcha. Infinity War was promoted to show all the previous films were leading up to that film, and as a result of this strategy, it made $2 billion. That's
wow.
Twice as much as Dr. Evil asked for. No, he asked for 100 billion, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, do you think Episode 9 can achieve such success if Lucasfilm promotes it accordingly and shows that the first 8 films were leading up to Episode 9?
You want to go first?
Sure. I'm gonna say no, because I think that they're gonna promote it that, like, I don't know, in a way that we're aware that 7 and 8 led into 9, but not 1 through 6 and 7 and 8 led into 9.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't necessarily think they're going to show us even specific things that are like, here's a trailer and it has like this scene from Episode 7 and this scene from Episode 8 and see the dramatic conclusion. I mean, maybe those words, but I think everything we're going to see is shots from Episode 9. And I just highly doubt that they're going to do anything that really promotes the 1 through 8 story as a whole. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Part of me says that I could kind of see them do it. The dramatic conclusion of the Skywalker saga, you know? They've already, I know. I'm
rolling my eyes.
I know,
That's
John.
why he's saying I know. Yeah.
All right. What's your take on this?
Yeah, it's you know how I feel about the Marvel Star Wars comparison. I don't like the parallels. I think it's two completely different types of storytelling. The Avengers was built up that way from the get-go. The Star Wars saga is a different animal where it's based around this one family, and I just see it as that two completely different things. They happen to be owned under the same umbrella, and I'm sure Bob Iger is very happy about that. But no, I don't think they need to do that. Episode 9 is going to be its own juggernaut. Everyone gets it. They know what's coming. You don't need to promote it by saying in Episode 1 we had a pod race, and then in Episode 2 we had a love, and then it's so unnecessary. We have a new batch of characters here. This is about them. This is about the finality of the Skywalkers. It's just unnecessary to me. And it's not imperative in order for this thing to make a lot of money. I feel the change coming with fandom. I hear a lot less and less about angst towards The Last Jedi, and I hear more positivity and excitement about Episode 9. People like JJ. He's a way more public persona than Rian Johnson. He's going to be out there doing the fun skits, doing the fun stuff, promoting this thing. It's going to have that similar energy to TFA. And I think this thing's going to crush at the box office without needing this type of thing.
All right, I got two things that I've thought of since you started talking. And the first one is that the reason they do the marketing that way for the Avengers movie is because Iron Man, that started the whole thing out, is in Avengers Infinity War. Mm-hmm. And Hulk and Thor and all those movies that were back in the very beginning, those characters are in this movie. And the second thing that I thought of, so it's all lead up, and maybe we would get flashbacks of Episode 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 if Han Solo, as we recognize him, was going to be teaming up with Padme, and then Anakin was going to be there standing next to Luke Skywalker, and all of that stuff was like a story where those characters were going to be in Episode 9, then yeah, you market it like, you loved these movies, now come see this one.
Right.
That's the one thing. And the other thing is that Infinity War is a cross-franchise thing. They have the Guardians meeting up with Doctor Strange. They have Iron Man meeting up with I was going to say Thor, but he's met up with Thor again. But like multi ones that they haven't met together are now coming together. So if episode 9 was like the culmination of all of the episodic films and also these other Rian Johnson movies and also these other Benioff and Weiss movies, and they were all coming together and they were going to be in this one movie, then yeah, you're going to see clips and pieces of all of them, I think. But that's not happening. This is just the third story of 7, 8, and 9. That's how they're going to market it.
Do you think Groot is inspired by Chewbacca in terms of like a character?
Yeah, I think so. Because you know why? Because I think Rocket is inspired by Han Solo.
I think Rocket's inspired by R2-D2.
No, you don't. Do you really?
Yeah. He's small.
So
he's a wisecrack, and he knows how to get things done.
So then, by association, you think Groot is inspired by C-3PO, as in like a taller, like we don't really know what to think of this guy. Like
no, I see Groot as Chewie.
So you see Chewie and R2 hanging out,
and Star-Lord's clearly Han Solo.
I see that too, but like what I'm saying is like when I look at those two, I see Han Solo and Chewbacca going like, oh, you know, I am Groot. And then he's like, what? No, we got to go to the place and do the thing. Chewie, we're a team, and we're never going to not be a team.
Yeah, okay, so maybe it was like little bits and pieces of these people, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of these characters were inspired. Like, you're going to tell me Gamora doesn't have a little bit of Princess Leia in her somewhere, inadvertently picked up along the line? Yeah.
Oh, well, that relationship does remind me a lot of Han and Leia. They're back and forth, and like, do they like each other? Do they not? It's right there, yeah.
Yeah, so... all right, you want to do the third question?
You tricked me into talking about Marvel. Dang
it. We win. We won, Marvel fans. Let's go on to the last one. Grandmaster Galen Merrick at GMaster08.
Samuel Allen, big fan of the podcast. Thanks, man.
He said, will General Hux use the Knights of Ren Will General Hux use the Knights of Ren to turn on Kylo Ren in episode 9. Yeah, left out a word, but we got through it. I started the last one. You go on this one.
No, I don't think so, because why would the Knights of Ren listen to General Hux?
Bingo. I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah, they're not a part of the First Order. They just happen to be under Kylo Ren, who is a part of the First Order. Mm-hmm. So... if anything, they'll eat Hux alive like the hyenas did to Scar at the end of Lion King. Like, and again, we're hoping the Knights of Ren show up, you know, but I don't think so. But I mean, that's a good question. I like it because I think a lot of people are trying to make Hux more relevant again. Than I think you and I agree that Rian Johnson kind of made him a bit of a folly in episode 8. So if he goes back to JJ style or interpretation of General Hux, then he could build up as a villain. But I feel like a lot of people are really trying to build him up because they're trying to look for a way out for Kylo. But I don't see this scenario happen though, Sam. I want to know what you think though. So tweet at me and let me know. James, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think the hyena thing is a great example. Like how would the question be posed? Like, do you think that Simba? I don't know. This is bad. I was going to say, how do you think Simba would convince the hyenas to? And it's like, oh, I guess he kind of did do that in the movie.
We're gonna do all the Disney-owned analogies possible related to Star Wars apparently tonight.
For anybody that's seen the movie Pop Star, I basically just did what they did in that movie, which is one of my favorite lines. Where the guy they used to be 3 people, and then there was 2, and the one guy was really mad about it, and he's like, what do you have when there's 3 people and then you take one away? It's like a tricycle with 2 wheels. It doesn't work. What do you have? A bicycle.
Popstar?
Don't use that.
What's Pop Star?
Pop Star. It's a great movie. It's a comedy.
Who's in that?
Andy Samberg, Lonely Island.
Is that the sequel to Pain and Gain?
It could be, but it's not. It could take place in the same universe.
You aside from Star Wars, you watch some bad movies, man, huh?
No, man. First of all, you don't know anything about Pain and Gain, so you have no right to talk on that one. Secondly, is that Pop Star is like a highly rated movie that nobody saw. It was
Okay,
like
well, if you guys listening out
great
there
comedy.
have ever seen Pain and Gain or Pain or Gain, whatever it's called,
Pain and Gain,
or Popstar, tweet at us at RBATSWNN and let us know, because I don't think there's any of you out there who have seen this, because I've never heard of these movies or seen them.
Yeah. Have you seen Hot Rod?
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, I think I saw it
Hot
on
Rod
TV.
is the second movie done
like
by
Evil
those same
Knievel?
people. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
Andy
okay.
Samberg and the other guys from Lonely Island.
That movie's
One of the
stunk.
guys, Hot Rod?
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on. So anyway, going back to the hyenas, I did a bad example. What do you have when you have a tricycle with 2 wheels? You got nothing. Bicycle. Don't use that. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't see the Knights of Ren turning on Kylo for Hux. Like, what? I can't imagine what sort of loyalty Hux would have for them that Kylo wouldn't. I feel like we know the Knights of Ren come from people who were with Luke and who turned and who are like emotionally connected to Kylo, you know, to Ben Solo. I just can't possibly imagine. And then from there, they found the First Order and they joined that. But like, so I think first and foremost, they belong to Kylo. He is their master of the Knights of Ren.
There you go.
He commands them to do something. So they do it. All right. That's it for the questions. Again, you know, I'll go over that. Like, how do you get a question on the show? You hashtag Ask the Resistance anywhere on Twitter. If you want to do it on Instagram, or you want to hit us up using our email address, you know, resistancebroadcast@gmail.com, you can do that too. Just somehow you got to get a question to us, and the most likely way is to use that hashtag. So do it. We'll answer your questions maybe next week. John?
Yeah.
Wrap this show up so we can get to bed, I guess.
All right. So, yes, send those questions in. Don't be shy. Just fire them off. We have a lot of fun answering those, so thank you. After you do that, though, make sure you are subscribed to us on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on YouTube. The YouTube channel is really starting to get rocking and rolling here, as we have each of our segments now getting their own videos, thanks to James here. So if you are in a pinch and you just want to watch the Resistance Report Story 1, boom, there you go. If you just want to see if your question got answered on Ask the Resistance, boom, there it is. So go subscribe to that.
Can I jump in too? If you think something's cool, but you don't want to have to share a full 1-hour episode on your timeline, you can just share one portion of our show. Like, hey, I really liked the way they talked about this, or I like this idea or this concept. You could share that, and that's a good way to get other people into the Resistance broadcast as well, because they're willing to digest maybe like 8 minutes of us talking about Kylo Ren, but maybe not 50 minutes of us talking about Star Wars in general.
Right. Yeah, good point. Good call. And if you have a moment and you are an iTunes user, just hop in there and rate us 5 stars and leave us a review. It really goes a long way, and it honestly takes about 5 seconds, so we appreciate that. And follow us on SoundCloud, because we're always posting our episodes there, and they're an easy way to scroll through all the episodes. So a lot of options for you. Also, for all of your news, head to StarWarsNewsNet.com, our website, for your latest news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. tpublic.com is where you can find our merch. tpublic.com/user/resistance broadcast. About 30 different designs. Thank you to the bunch of you who this past week, when the sale was going on, bought stickers, bought mugs, bought t-shirts, bought hoodies. We really appreciate that. I saw a lot of Kylo Ren Supreme Leader stuff flying out. That's probably our best seller. I have one myself, so I dig that.
I saw a couple of Thrawns. We have
Thrawns,
like a blue shirt with like his face on the front, but he has red eyes. It pops.
Yes.
It's really cool.
And I saw a Caleb Doom sale, so I figured that was you again. Anytime we sell something like that, I just assume
I'm up
it's
to
you
like
buying
4 or 5 of those right now. I can't keep track.
But yeah, tpublic.com/user/resistance broadcast. Go check it out and pick some stuff up. And as far as us, you can find Lacey, who wasn't here. She will be back next Monday. I don't know when we're going to be back. We may take a little time off. We'll see. But you can reach Lacey on Twitter at Lacey Gillerin. And contrary to what a rumor we started with Lacey, she is still doing the Star Wars Newsnet show. She just was waiting for some news, which we have now. So look for that because she will be doing one soon, I bet. And you guys can find me at Johnny Hoey on Twitter and writing and editing over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. James, how about you, man?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Myra Trunks, and also just wondering if John's childhood friend Luann's her real name was Kelly.
Yeah, it was Luan Deng, and geez, I probably haven't thought of that girl since I moved when I was 11. So that
was her real name Kelly Marie?
No, it wasn't, because then I could say that maybe I knew her, but no, a different person, unfortunately. All right, guys, so that is the show. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope our analogies of all these different other dumb movies and stuff wasn't too off the grid here, but we had a good time breaking down all this news and talking with you. Hit us up on Twitter at RBATSWNN. Let us know what you think about all these stories and your takes on all this stuff too, because that's what makes our podcast great, is interacting with you guys. And then when you're done with that, enjoy your week, and we'll be back here. James and I will be back Thursday morning, where we're doing a Kessel Run. We're bringing that back, so we're going to give you a list of 12 things that we're going to talk about. And James, do we want to reveal what they are, or do we want to wait?
Not reveal what they are, but I'll tell you this: like, you know that thing, like when you were a kid and you believed that, like, if you kiss a girl, like that's how people get pregnant.
Yep.
That's basically where I'm coming at. We're gonna give you guys because we're doing 12. That's the Kessel Run. So we're each doing 6 of the stupid things we believed about Star Wars that, as we got older, we realized that's not true. And I'm a little embarrassed to say that I ever thought that was what was going through my head when I was younger.
Yeah, we're basically going to tell you how stupid we were when we were little when we watched Star Wars.
So if you want to listen in, that's a good one to listen in on.
All right, guys, enjoy your weeks and get ready for that, and think of your own stupid things so we can all be stupid together on Thursday morning right here on the Resistance broadcast. See you around, kids.